You just like almost like
He's got Riz.
He's too sharp. Yes, he's like too much Riz.
Rod Serling has Riz.
He's got the fucking Riz.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the ScareMeTender show.
Yes, we are your
ScareMeTender podcast.
Yes, we're your hosts, Will
and Tanner.
Today's episode is we're going to be talking about one of our favorite shows, one of the greatest shows of all time.
It's a classic,
undeniably. That's not even up for debate. It's iconic.
It started in the '60s.
It did,
and then there was a remake of it. I believe in 2020, wasn't there?
Yeah, Jordan Peele helmed the remake, which I wish they'd done more of.
Yep.
We're talking about the Twilight Zone, created by Mr. Rod Serling.
Rod Serling,
possible homosexual.
You might have noticed that this evening you were watching a couple individuals.
He's so fucking classy. He has this like almost. He's so classy. He's got this weird look to him. You just like almost like.
He's got Riz.
He's too sharp. Yes, he's like too much Riz.
Rod Serling has Riz.
He's got the fucking Riz. He's a very smart guy. He wrote most of the episodes of the show. Serves as narrator. Before we even get into the content of the obviously,
yeah, let's just do some appreciation of the show itself.
It's sci-fi horror anthology. A lot of political background, a lot of social commentary.
Yeah,
really, in a time when you couldn't get away with saying a lot of stuff.
At a time when the current president was starting to tell the American people that there are evil syndicate forces trying to do things. Like such as Eisenhower telling you about the military-industrial complex.
Let's not get so much.
And then this is also most like of seasons 1 through I believe 4 are before we ever went to space, bro.
Yes, and
there's footage of rocket launches in these fucking in these episodes, bro.
I'm not saying they were predicting the future or anything, but this show did come at a time where our interest in
this is a very important time in American history.
Our interest in UFOs, science fiction was peaked very high.
This show was definitely a catalyst.
Roswell had already happened. This is honestly, the show started in the wake of a lot of the communist witch hunts that took place in the later half of the 50s after World War II, when they were kind of trying to clean house. Red Scare. So a lot of it is like, and you couldn't say you couldn't say a lot of stuff on TV. So they mask it in a way where they use this aliens or like this is a good example is this episode that we're not talking. Well, we will talk about it just now, but it wasn't on my list. The one where Roddy McDowell goes to another planet. He's a astronaut. Goes to another planet, and he gets there's aliens, and before he gets to that planet, his fellow passenger on the spacecraft who dies on the way there, Marcus,
and this tells him people are alike all over.
Yes, he tells him he's like, "What do you think they'll be like if we meet people there?" And he's like, People are alike all over.
I have a theory. People are alike all over.
Yep. So
every stretch of the universe.
He gets there and he's thinking to himself, because they're showing him a lot of hospitality. Basically, it boils down to at the end of the episode, he realizes that he is being locked inside of a fucking zoo.
Right.
It looks like a human house. It looks like they're trying to make him comfortable, but he's been locked inside of a fucking zoo, and the Martians are all watching him, much like we would do if a Martian came here. We would lock him up. We
probably wouldn't put him up for public display.
No, but we've definitely sat there. I mean, I very strongly believe that we have taken aliens and worked on their fucking bodies and shit. But at the same time, so it's about, it has that, but the other symbolism behind it, I think, is that we're no different from the Russians. The Russians are different from us. We all, when it really boils down to it, we're all Americans. And there's so much social commentary in so many episodes that you can't just come out and say, because a lot of it was anti-government kind of stuff, you know?
Right.
Very much hatred towards
a lot of it was anti-establishment. It was
hatred towards Russians is stupid.
It was, let's explore these topics that that we're trying to hunt down. Let's explore a communist scenario to the utmost degree, and then
Right.
let's make a 21-minute episode
And if you know,
about like we're just peering into the window of that world
right.
for half an hour.
And if you notice as well, it's a lot of the episodes are stuff where, oh, that guy who's my enemy, he's no different than I am. Not really. When you pull it down,
Right,
when
people
you
are
break it
like all
away,
over.
right? Like that episode, or there's so many episodes that are like Vietnam War based or Civil War based, where it's two enemies and they really aren't that different, or just stuff like that.
There's
And
one where there is a man who is walking on a dirt road during the Civil War.
is this where
And
he meets the woman?
yes, he meets a woman.
The passerbys. The passerbys is the name of the episode
Okay.
because I just watched it last night.
This guy, he's like a. I don't even think he's part of the Confederacy.
I think
he just gets shot in
Confederate
between.
soldier.
Is he? Either way, he survives, and he's
Right.
walking on this dirt road, and there's other soldiers that are walking back trying to go home because a
Right.
battle just ended. They're wounded. These are people that are sent back after war.
Right.
Like essentially like a Purple Heart or something.
Yes.
He gets to this house where this woman says her husband went off to fight for the Confederacy or to fight for the Union, I believe, and she doesn't know if he's alive or dead.
Right. And she's waiting for him to walk down the road.
Right. Our MC, our main character, he encounters this woman, gives her a little comfort. They don't have a romantic part.
No.
But
she's like older. I
not
think,
really. I think he's a little older.
Okay.
She looks pretty all right.
I will say I was half asleep when that episode played.
Right. Either way, it turns out the dirt road that they're on is somehow linked to the spirit realm, and
Yes.
these are fallen soldiers that are trying to bring their soul back to the,
Yeah, they're passing over.
Right. They're passing over,
and they are also dead.
Right.
Big twist. There goes two.
So is the woman, and so is the man.
So is the man. Yep.
But I will say a very common theme in a lot of Twilight Zone episodes, and it's a pretty powerful message. But it's that.
But do they bring up the
without the aspect or, acknowledgement that we all die, or our fragile nature is the reason why we do anything that we do.
Right.
Like there's so many episodes where it's like if somebody becomes indestructible or they get a million wishes, bro.
First one, dude. I'm gonna try to. Go ahead. Tell me what you told me the other day. What's the name of the episode? And
okay, let me see if I can.
Is it Mr. Dingle the Strong?
No, bro. It's called Escape Clause. This is season 1, episode 6.
Okay.
Can't remember the name of the guy. Either way, he has a wife. He's just insanely bored with mundane life.
Yes.
And then the devil presents himself to him and says, I can give you immortality, and
people do a lot of foolish things in the Twilight Zone.
I can make you not age, and you're also indestructible.
Right.
Because he's fearful that he's reaching the end of his life. Right. And that he'll live a life with no value to it.
Yeah.
No worth in his own standing. Which probably every human on the planet, people when they reach that twilight hour, no pun intended.
Zone.
Yeah. But when they reach that part of their life, they probably are starting to feel more regret, and it might be a more difficult battle to try to accept yourself, especially at that age.
And the life that you have created.
Right. And accept the life that you've lived, and accept that you're passing on now.
People
that's why the soldiers are still walking on the trail, because they're on the journey, the path of accepting
that their life
their
is
own
over.
Mortality.
Yeah.
Right. Very deep
shit.
But
tell me, so the devil...
Pretty much, yeah, this guy, he gets immortality, and he gets indestructibility.
Mm-hmm.
The first and only thing he does is try to unalive himself in every manner possible.
He just keeps trying.
It doesn't work. I guess he's trying to find a thrill.
Yeah.
But why is that the immediate thrill? Like, if you were a thrill seeker, I would understand that now I'm trying to get the ultimate thrill.
Right.
But he was just a boring, regular guy, and now all he wants to do is try to end his own life.
But he knows that he can't.
Because he finds enjoyment in it?
Weird.
But in
Sadist.
all reality, every time he
Masochist.
tries it, he comes to the exact same conclusion where he doesn't die. So what is he even doing?
You think it was a stupid episode?
I think it was kind of stupid, but
Yeah.
it had an all right message.
Right.
The main character himself was stupid.
Does he realize at the end that his mundane life is okay?
I guarantee you, if I was immortal and indestructible, the first and only thing that I would be doing is not trying to kill myself. Because that would just seem redundant, right? Because you have immortality and indestructibility. You're not going to kill yourself.
I could see you going out.
Why would you try to do that?
I could see you going out and doing things that you might have been scared to do before, like skydiving,
right? Or you might
because what doesn't
have sex with a loose woman. You might roll the dice.
Is he immune to diseases though?
He's indestructible.
He just right.
So I guess that would be immune to viruses as well.
I don't know if we're gonna get flagged for this, but can you tell me how exactly he tries to kill himself? Does he doesn't put like a shotgun in his fucking mouth?
No, he tries to get run over by a train and gets back up.
Okay.
He ends up getting in jail because he pushes his wife off of a building.
He kills his wife
on accident, but then he's numb to it the entire time that he does it.
Damn. So the wife doesn't come back.
No, she's dead.
So he kills his wife.
Yes, and then he goes to prison, and then he does the deal with the devil. Now you can take my body, because he already gave him his soul. Now you can take my body, and now I can die.
What happens at the end?
He dies.
How's that? Because he has nothing
left? He
gives
his body to Satan.
So he has nothing left.
Right. He gave his soul to the devil for these powers. So now he's just a husk. That's why he doesn't feel anything.
Right.
Then he takes his husk and gives it to Satan, his body, and he has a heart attack, dies.
Which is problematic, but yeah.
So I thought another very interesting episode was Season 2, Episode 6, The Eye of the Beholder. And
that's a great one.
Yeah. This is where,
classic.
By the end of it, you realize the people in the episode are pig people.
Yes.
And the main character, who's undergoing cosmetic surgery, is a beautiful, normal woman. But in society of pigs, she's viewed as unattractive.
Ugly. Yeah.
Ugly.
Right. The entire episode plays out where you don't see her face. You don't see the faces of the doctors that are working on her. They keep telling her they're going to try to make her beautiful. She sees herself as ugly. And she's actually beautiful.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, she's gorgeous.
And that's the whole metaphor.
And then
the guy beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
Right. The guy that comes
dependent on your circumstances, surroundings.
I want to know how shocking that was for viewers when that first came out.
They're scary.
It
shocked me.
Had to scare the fuck out of you. Was that the first time you saw it?
No.
When you were okay.
Like when I was a kid.
Right. Yeah, I remember being very shocked.
When I was a kid, I'm gonna name another one, and then you should go into some.
Mm-hmm.
But it's A Good Life, and this is the story of little Anthony, and somehow
little Billy Barty.
He's got psychic powers. He can create shit. He can turn you into anything. He can do anything. He can read minds. And he has his entire hometown on lockdown.
Basically, this woman comes to town. She gets lured to the house, basically.
No, not in this.
Oh, no? There's no outside character?
No.
Okay, see, in the movie version of it, there's an outside character that she meets at this little bar restaurant.
Is she a sacrifice to her own son?
And she takes... No,
is the woman she lures a sacrifice to her son?
No. So there's this woman who's stopping in at this gas station restaurant place to get a bite to eat or use the bathroom or something. She meets Anthony. She takes him back to his house because he's like, hey, can you help me get home? Because he has a flat tire on his bike. So she drives him to his house. When she gets there, she's brought in, oh, come have dinner with us. It's Anthony's birthday.
And then it's always Anthony's birthday.
Every day is Anthony's birthday. It's a good thing you did.
It's a good day.
And then it turns out that the whole family's being held hostage. Some of them aren't even his family members. They're just people from the town that he's like, you're my family now, and you all live with me, and everything is to serve me.
Right.
It's crazy. It's a fucking nightmare.
And that could be also a metaphor. I've heard this before that some people think some people take this like offensive approach to what they think God is, and that God is a child, and that God is also throwing tantrums constantly. I mean, and this episode is a perfect metaphor for that.
I could see
because
that,
the child in this is God to this community.
As far as he knows, yeah.
I mean, he can literally do anything.
Right. I just don't think that. Yeah.
Scary shit.
I didn't get that vibe from it. I don't think most people would. I think that's a bit of a stretch. I think it's just kind of scary. It's a very scary episode.
It definitely had something to do with power placed in the wrong hands.
Exactly, misplaced power. That's a good one. Yeah, see,
Right.
that's a better understanding of that. But I got one. So one of my favorite episodes, and it is the only episode that doesn't have anything to do with supernatural shit. It's an outlier, but I think it's one of the most powerful. Is an episode called "The Shelter." I think it's season 2. I'm not sure exactly the episode number, but "The Shelter" starts out. All these neighbors are at a backyard barbecue. There's a siren that goes off and a radio announcement where the President of the United States says that there are incoming nuclear missiles, and they're going to touch down in New York. This little neighborhood is about 40 minutes away from New York. So
dude, that is probably the most scary thing you could possibly hear.
Of all the neighbors in this little community, only one of them took the time to build a nuclear bunker. So he's like, fuck, I got to get me, my wife, and my son down to my bunker. None of my friends, while they were having their little backyard parties and shit, none of them took the time to build one because they thought the worst could never happen. He gets them down there. Meanwhile, each one of his friends individually is like, please, Marty, let us in. Please, let me and my family in. And so they all start fighting amongst themselves.
What makes you think that your family and your kid are more valuable or have more?
Well, they all end up turning on each other. Meanwhile, Marty and his family have already locked themselves in their bunker.
Right.
They're refusing to let anybody in. The neighbors upstairs, there's this...
They keep gathering more people.
Oh, dude, there's this one... the best character in this episode is this little fucking... This pipsqueak man who literally jacks up this Italian mother... There's an Italian family that also lives in this neighborhood. Nobody has any problem with it until the shit hits the fan. Because this dude... And he's been in several other episodes as well, and I don't know his name.
Beanstalk.
Fucking Beanstalk. He's not even a Beanstalk.
Grabs a hold of the Italian sausage.
He slaps the fuck out of him.
He does.
Is like, nobody gives a... He doesn't say fuck, but he's like, nobody cares what you think, you and your kind. He's like, you don't deserve to get in the bunker more than we do. We're Americans. You're just foreign scum. At one point, I think he calls him a wop, which is a...
I don't think he said... He says something.
He calls him something. It's like it's an outdated term for an Italian person.
And speaking of outdated terms, what is it? Nick of Time, dude. Where he's like, don't think of me as some retarded child.
We'll get to that in a second. But he literally, this is the funniest part is this little dude leads the mob.
Right. And that's usually how it is.
They go to the neighborhood, like they take the time to go to the neighborhood like a street or two over, like the cul-de-sac a street or two over. They get a fucking big ass pipe and come back and they're like, we're gonna bust. They bust his door down.
They steal a battering ram from the police station.
It's not a battering ram. They go and get a big ass heavy pipe. And they just bust it.
It has like a flat end at the end of it.
Yeah, but it's not a battering ram.
It looks like a flagpole.
Well, it looks like a battering ram, and they say, we need a battering ram. And then he's like, Joe Johnson on 2 streets over has some large pipe. Let's go get it. And they're like, what if he wants to come? And they're like, fuck him. He can't come. And tell him if he knows what's good for him, he won't ask any more questions. So they leave. Next thing you know, they've come back with this big-ass pipe.
So they probably beat the shit out of the guy they stole the pipe from.
Dude, the racist guy, the foreign guy's on the end of the pipe. The racist guy's at the front. They're knocking over tables, going through this guy's house. The guy whose bunker this is. They're in his house, busting his shit up. They go down there. They bust through the fucking door with the battering ram. No sooner do they do that, radio announcement comes back on, and they're like, actually, it was just a satellite. There is no nuclear missile coming. And they're like, oh, damn. They're like, Marty, we'll pay for the damages. And then the racist guy is like, hey, Alfonso, whatever the fuck his name is. He goes, Luigi, you know I didn't mean those things. I was just mad. Mario. You know I didn't mean those things. What's funny Luigi. Is he actually does look like Mario. The Italian
does look like
guy.
Mario.
He does. He's got a big old
like
fat
Wario because
big old fat mustache. He's a greasy Italian guy.
Jeez Louise.
But the funniest part about that to me is that, like, What did they think was going to happen? Even if they, let's say the missiles were real, you've just busted the door to the bunker. You're all dead now,
Now it don't
including
work.
Marty. I guess at that point, I will be honest with you. I was watching and I was like, listen, in my head, I'm like, if this guy wouldn't let me in, fuck him and his. I'm going to bust the thing down too. Most like, I don't know. In there. I don't know. I might throw a slur around. I might bust down the door. Who knows? But anyway, they all try to I'm joking, of course. Wink, wink. But they all like try to reconcile, reconcile.
Dude, I think I'll just get up off my porch and I'll just start running, bro.
To where? You can't outrun a nuclear blast.
Probably the end of Horry County.
You're gonna
and
run.
Then whenever I get there,
Horry County is one of the biggest counties in America. Figured, just so you know,
I'll probably figure I might as well run to the state line.
Matter of fact, Horry County,
when I get there, County, I might as well run across the whole country.
Horry County is bigger than the state of Rhode Island.
So that's what I'll do.
That's what you're gonna do. You don't have a wife and kids, I guess. So. Bye-bye, Desiree.
One day I might say, I'm tired. And I'll walk back home.
Like fucking Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
But anyway, so, yeah. And then I think Marty gives like this monologue and he's like, we're all just a bunch of wild, naked animals when you pull back the layers. The damage has been done and there's no going back.
He's like, how can we go back?
You can't go back. You've said so much stuff. Your true colors have been shown.
Right.
Who you really are. How can
You're
we go
a racist animal.
How can we really go back to having backyard barbecues? You know? Which they probably will. Who the fuck knows? But that might be my actual favorite episode. Because I think it's the most most powerful.
Howling Man.
Howling Man is good because you do get to see Howling Man, there's a guy.
Yep, give me a rundown.
Yeah, that's on my list as well. Howling Man is about this guy who he is a traveler. He stops in a monastery in he gets
stuck in the middle of a crazy ass hurricane.
Crazy storm in like Germany or something. He wanders into a monk monastery, and the monks they're not monks. They're like priests or something. They look like fucking Moses.
It looks like
Bible.
a religious
They look like
temple.
Moses from the Bible. Yeah.
Yeah, and they look like the apostles.
And they're like, you can stay here for the night. First, they don't want him to stay, but they're like, you can stay here for the night. Just don't be snooping around. Anyway, he keeps hearing fucking howling. And he goes to investigate, and he finds this guy who's like locked in a fucking cell. And he's like, who the fuck are you? And he's like, yo, these monks are crazy, dude. I was kissing somebody. That's what he says. He's like, I was kissing someone, and they beat me over the head and shoved me in here.
See, but something I didn't notice until I watched it last week is that with what the howling guy behind the bars was saying about his backstory and what he said, in order to trick the guy, he thought the Moses-looking guy's intent was whenever he knocked him out. I think they were alluding to some sort of like homosexuality, bro. Like
because they never say.
Like I think he was alluding to the fact that he might have been kissing another man, and then he saw it, knocked him out. And that he was also a homosexual that was going to take him to this place and lock him up. And that's probably what he was using to scare the one guy into releasing him.
Could be. I don't know.
Because he mentioned, he just says he was trying to kiss a partner.
Right.
He didn't say a girl.
My lover.
Or a lover.
Right.
He said a partner, which means that it wasn't very affectionate either. Just because they do, everything they do in the show from the dialogue is very metaphorical.
Right.
So I think they might have been alluding to the fact that
the monks were anti-gay,
the possibility,
which they definitely would have been at the time.
No, I think they were just like religious prosecution for homosexuality.
Right. Until he's playing off of that to him.
Anyway, but it turns out he's the devil.
He is the devil because the monks tell him he's the devil. He doesn't believe it because that's fucking crazy. He ends up letting him out, and no sooner does he let him out, he literally turns into the damn devil.
Transforms into Satan.
So it looks just like what you would think Satan looks like. Not scary, just long beard or long goatee, pointy elf ears,
cape,
collar
up, yeah,
sexy,
vampire,
sexy.
He's got the widow's peak.
Yep, and that's
the devil,
right? He howls though, which is strange to me.
It's because he's a beast,
right?
It's like a metaphor. It's everything.
He howls like a werewolf, but he looks like a vampire.
He looks like a vampire.
He's a sexy beast.
Howls like a werewolf.
Yeah.
Looks like a
sex guy.
Looks like sexy Jason Momoa or something.
Sexing Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
He's not quite as big
Take
as
some
Jason
of that bulk
Momoa.
off of him.
Yeah.
You
Jason
seen?
Momoa don't do it for me. Not a fan.
No,
My man.
but you can understand it
My
why
man.
women are attracted to him
I
because he's
get
a
it.
big burly
He's a
bear fucker.
hulking man who
I mean,
with dirty feet. He doesn't wear shoes.
Dude, Jason Momoa literally has sex with bears.
And what?
Like he dominates them in the woods.
He does not have sex with bears. Not really. Anyway, we're getting off track here. So he lets him out. It's the devil, and then he's like telling the story to somebody else. Like, don't open that door. I don't know why he's hired a housekeeper at the end.
Yeah, like you're fucking.
He's hired a housekeeper to watch over his house. The guy from the beginning who let the
Like
devil
your
out
$10 an hour maid is going to.
has spent years trying to catch the devil. He's caught him, and then he hires a housekeeper to watch over the devil for a couple hours. I don't know.
Because he's going to alert.
But why?
He's going to alert the monks that he's captured the devil.
Right, but just don't bring another party into the mix.
Yeah, he's not going to
Makes no sense.
escape
He can't
unless
get
somebody
out.
busts into your fucking
There's
house.
he's got like a holy rod staff over the door.
Let's say he didn't have somebody there.
Also,
what was his line of thinking? Okay, I need somebody there to watch it because if he's just howling, somebody might bust in my house.
Why would somebody bust in your house if they?
Because he's got a dog.
A wolf sound?
I thought he was scared.
People are stupid.
I had to free Floofy.
People are stupid for dogs.
If Floofy was the devil.
I smashed all your windows out. I thought the dog was hot.
Either way, the maid fucking opens up the door and releases the devil once again.
Yeah, and they just show her opening the door, and then it's like, oh fuck, again.
Yeah, he's behind the door, and he's like,
the episode ends.
Yeah, he's doing the Dwayne Johnson.
And I think the smolder. I think the Rod Serling's final line is like something along the lines of, you can hold evil, but you can't catch it forever. It will escape.
Very interesting shit. I think we should wrap up with one more.
Sure.
One that I really liked and is not really supernatural. It's actually quite scientific. Cause
I could talk about this shit for hours.
I told you about this phenomena last week.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever week it is for the audience.
Right.
But season 3, episode 10, The Midnight Sun.
That's a good one.
Right. Our MC is an artist woman.
Yes.
And probably New York City. I think it is New York
that one
City
that's hot as
because
shit?
they talk about going to Syracuse to see waterfalls.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's hot. Literally and metaphorically because the planet
is overheating.
On course going closer and closer to the sun.
Yep.
It's heating up the planet.
The twist on that one's great too.
Right. Basically everyone's getting this crazy ass heat sickness and it's making people go insane. Right. This guy, he explains his whole backstory. He's not a violent man. He had a wife. He had children. They all died of heat exhaustion and now he's just trying to find water.
Yeah. He breaks into their apartment.
Trying to hurt them. He knocks the old woman to the ground. That's the neighbor of our MC.
Yeah.
And after he leaves, the old woman has a mental breakdown and then collapses. And then our MC collapses.
Right.
Turns out she was suffering from some kind of cold shock because in all reality, the planet is moving away from the sun and it's getting colder.
She's having a nightmare.
Right.
Yeah, and in reality, her dream is about it being super hot, but in reality, she wakes up, the planet is freezing cold. Yeah, that's a great twist. Double shit.
It's crazy because the planet is moving away from the sun.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought it's getting hotter though.
That's because of our atmosphere.
That's the ozone. I don't think you told me about this. You said you told me something about this.
Every planet in our solar system is moving away from the sun equidistantly by 0.6 inches every year.
So, okay. How long do we have?
Just something to do with the relationship between electricity, magnetism.
How long do we have?
What?
Before we're too far away.
Probably.
Or will we be okay? Because our atmosphere is also eroding.
100 million years.
Oh.
Because 0.6 inches on a interstellar scale like that.
Huh.
Is way too fucking big of a movement for our lifespan.
Gotcha. Before we wrap up, I do want to mention one other episode that doesn't have the only episode I can think of that doesn't have some negative tone to it. It's actually a happy, light leaves you feeling good,
Ooh.
which is The Night of the Meek,
Oh.
starring Art Carney. Basically, there is this homeless bum. They released this at Christmas time, so it was for like good feels.
It's a Christmas special.
It's a holiday special.
It's
Yep.
feel good.
It is. It's feel good. It's great. He's a bum. He's working. He's a drunk.
And by the
He's
way,
working.
we'll probably do by the time Christmas time and more festive times start happening. I
Yeah.
think we'll do themed content towards that
For sure.
for
sure.
seasonal shit.
For sure.
But yeah, go on.
He's working as I think a department store Santa. Because back in the day, they used to hire fucking drunks left and right to do this shit.
He's a bum. He's a mall Santa before malls.
He gets fired, and he's wandering out in the street, and he's like,
"Damn, why ain't there Santa Claus?"
We're like, why is the world so fucked up? Anyway, he meets an elf. I think, or no, he finds a bag. He finds a magic bag that it's basically Santa's sack, and Santa's magic sack.
Scrote.
Not his scrote. And he starts gifting. He's basically playing Santa Claus around town, gifting people gifts and stuff, and making, honestly, just life better. And at the end of it, he's rewarded for his good deeds, or his jolly demeanor. But he becomes Santa Claus. There's an elf that appears with the sleigh, and he hops in the sleigh and he rides the fuck off. And he becomes Santa. Great episode, good feels, not sad or twisted or any of that shit.
Right. And another one that's feel good and ends on a good note is Mr. Beavis.
Which one's that?
I think it's called Mr. Beavis.
Right, but what happens in it?
Mr. Beavis is basically like a Pee Wee Herman type fucking character.
Mm-hmm.
He's friends with all the kids. Just because he's like a child at heart.
Is this the one where
he's also a pushover. He has a very strong personality.
Is he a salesman?
He's a salesman. I think he works at a bank.
Yes.
And then he gets fired. And then he wishes his guardian angel comes down.
Right.
And he tells his guardian angel that he wishes he was more assertive and that he didn't live this goofy ass life.
Right.
And he grants his wish for a day. He becomes CEO of his company, but he's not friends with any of the kids. He has a nice car.
Right.
But I think he might also crash it as well. I'm not sure. I think he crashes his old shitty car.
Yeah.
Either way, he realizes he's not happy with all of this bullshit because it's not him.
Right.
It's not true to his nature.
There was nothing wrong with him to begin with.
Right.
Right. That is sweet.
Very sweet. Yeah. So at the very end of it, he goes back to his normal life.
Actually made me tear up a little bit.
Lives out the exact same day, even though he knows he's going to get fired. Lives it out the exact same way because he loves who he is.
Right. He didn't die at the end, right?
Right. He does not die.
Well, there's another episode where it's One for the Angels, where there's a salesman, and he's also friends with children, and he like sells toys and stuff like that. And he's basically like the Grim Reaper comes for him. It's his day to die. And he's like, no, just let me have one more.
Because he wants to help out more people.
I want to do a pitch. I want to have the best pitch I could possibly have, like selling wise. And at the end of it, because he doesn't take, he needs to go, and he keeps putting it off, trying to trick death. They end up taking the life of this little girl instead. And so he trades her life for his. And then, it's very good.
It's a good one.
Yeah. But anyway,
that's coming to terms with your own mortality.
Right, which is what we all must do.
Right. And what we all must do, ladies and gentlemen, is hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that fucking bell. That's what we gotta do. That's what we all need to do, baby.
Everybody.
We all need to unite.
That was good.
It's good.
Yes, please like and subscribe if you haven't. If you have subscribed, like. If you're liking, subscribe. Just give us the fucking views. Let us know you're watching.
The triangle. It's the strongest force in the universe.
Jones.
Sorry, I did not mean to do Illuminati. I don't like that.
Devin Jones, thank you. I know you're watching.
Right. And if you've never left a comment, leave a comment saying, I'm here. And if you watch Nexpo, go watch Nexpo.
Huh? Why are we advocating
I'm losing
people to
my
watch?
mind.
Go watch Nexpo.
If you watch Nexpo, go watch Nexpo.
And go on his stuff
and say ScareMeTender sent me here.
ScareMeTender sent you here. Yeah.
Exactly.
Or Mr. Ballin.
Or Mr. Ballin. Or what is
that
it?
chapter.
That chapter.
Any of those guys.
Scare Theater.
Bizarre
Bub.
Victor Crowley. And his name?
Alex Jones.
Get Alex Jones' page and tell him.
And Joe Rogan.
ScareMeTender sent me.
ScareMeTender sent me here.
We do not support Alex Jones. He is a funny man, but no.
Oh, next episode we're getting into some deep shit.
We
and
are.
We might
And
we might bring up our good friend Alex.
I'm gonna bring up Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones and me tell each other fairy tales. But anyway, you guys have a good night. We'll see you next time, okay? Thank you so much. We love you.
We love you.
We're out.
Ghouls, girls,
goblins,
boys, goblins, troglodytes, transsexuals.
Everybody.
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 Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a scary night.